change was at the King Faisal Foundation, where he became my fan. Now, I began to experience another change. To experience somebody having a stroke and carrying them into your house, my dear brothers, and my father not having any control of his faculties, of passing out, it is no joke. Believe me, it is really no joke. It's a wake-up call, because we went into a new world, a total new world. And we took him to the hospital, and the hospital, the best hospitals in Durban, the Intibeni Hospital, the best neurologists in Durban, told us that your father will only live for 10 days. And we were stunned, shocked. 10 days is all we have with your father. So I came back home frantic, and I made telephone calls to my friends in Saudi. I said, please help, we need help now. Firstly, we're not well to do, we are poor, and we know that the hospital bills will kill us as well. But nevertheless, alhamdulillah, we need help. And alhamdulillah, I phoned Saudi Arabia, and the defense minister, Prince Sultan bin Salman, he sent his medical jet to pick my father up and take him to Riyadh. I accompanied my father, and my mother also accompanied my dad, and we were in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for 10 months under treatment. In that period of time, we were taught how to take care of my father. In that period of time, we learned how to communicate with my father, and that was a new chapter that opened our life. My father learned to communicate, and at that hospital things began to happen. From the day we landed, it began to change our life. We met a European lady, and the first thing I asked her, she was a nurse in the ICU at the King Faisal Specialist Hospital, and the first thing I asked her, where are you from? She said, Sydney, Australia. I said, man, this man, Ahmed Deedat, my father, was in Sydney, Australia just a month ago. She said, is this the man? I said, why? She said, I was supposed to go to his talk. And my mother said, don't go to this Muslim fanatics' talks. And I never went. I said, alhamdulillah, look at this. So I presented her with the tape of Easter, a Muslim viewpoint, done in Sydney, Australia. And believe me, it changed her life. She sent the tape to her mother, and she said, Mommy, this is the man who spoke, and he's with us in the King Faisal Specialist Hospital. First stage. Second stage, the Saudi government appointed their best neurologist to take care of my father. And this man was a German. You know the Germans? They are proud. They walk tall. But this German doctor, Dr. Munta, was the only doctor in the whole hospital that wore a bow tie. And when he walked, the nurses disappeared. And they appointed this man to take care of my father. A man who was so cheeky, who won't smile. And the first day when he came into the ward, and he held my father's hand, and he pushed it down, I said to myself, Ya Allah, what have you done? Why couldn't they appoint a Saudi doctor to take care of my father? But in Allah's wisdom, there was a plan. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَكَّرُوا وَمَكَّرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ مَاكِرِينَ. He's the best of planners, and we couldn't see Allah's plan. And as time went by, Munta was a man most feared in the whole hospital. Nobody could phone him even in a case of an emergency. One night, having spent 2-3 months already in the hospital, one night my father developed septicemia. Septicemia is blood poisoning. And when you get blood poisoning, dear brothers and sisters, it is serious. The symptoms are you shiver and you feel hot flushes, and you shiver and you feel hot flushes. We didn't know what was going on. So middle of the night, my mother phoned Dr. Munta, and she told him, Doctor, uncle is very sick, please come. And believe me, this man got up middle of the night, which he never does. He came and he activated the whole hospital. The next day, the hospital was all concentrating on Sheikh Deedat. And when I met Dr. Munta, he told me, Yousuf, your father is very serious. When a man walking gets septicemia, he hits the bed. But when a man in bed hits septicemia, he hits the grave. But we are here to save lives. And the whole hospital worked for 7 days continuously. And suddenly my father recovered. And Munta went up to my father, Dr. Munta went up to my father and said, I'm happy to see you. So my father told him, at that time he could communicate now very efficiently. My father, without opening his mouth, just with the eyes and a computer, my father told him, my dear doctor, I'd like to dedicate something to you. So Dr. Munta said, okay, Yousuf, write it down. So my father dictated. And this is the poem I don't want any one of you all to forget. This is the poem my father dictated. And it went like this. I have memorized it. Abu ben Adam, may his tribe increase, awoke one night from a deep sleep, and in the middle of the night had seen an angel writing in a book of gold. Abu ben Adam went up to him and asked, what writest thou, O angel of God? And the angel said, the names of those who love Allah. And Abu ben Adam asked, is my name there? And he said, nay, and flew away. The next night he was woken up again and saw the same angel writing in a book of gold. Abu ben Adam went up to him, and what writest thou now, O angel of God? And he said, the names of those who Allah has blessed. And when Abu ben Adam looked, his name led all the rest. And my father told him, Dr. Munta, you are the one who Allah has blessed. And from that day, Munta, he was so close to my father. My father presented him with the Quran. Munta had questions now. He said, I'm here for 10 years in Saudi Arabia. What is this call? Allahu Akbar. That every time I'm watching television, when that call goes, the television goes off. The azan goes on. My best program. Deedat explained to him the meaning of the azan. He said, I'm here 10 years. Nobody presented me with the Quran. My father presented him with the Quran in Saudi Arabia. A paralyzed bedridden man presenting a Quran. Then he had a final question on my father. He said, I'm one of the top neurologists in this hospital, but I can't go to Makkah and Medina, the hospital of Makkah, which is right on the border where non-Muslims are not allowed. I can't go there because I'm a non-Muslim. What type of religion is this? And even that my father gave an answer, and Munta became really close with my father. They were the best of pals. They couldn't do without one another. When we left Saudi Arabia, Munta walked into the ward with his hand behind his back. And he came to my father and with tears in his eyes told, Mr. Deedat, we are trained not to get close to our patients, but I have brought one thing for you. And he gave my father a rose, and we all in the ward cried out, and my father cried. He said, this is all. And he never turned his back on my father. He gave the rose and he walked backwards out of the ward and said, I wish you well, Mr. Deedat, back in South Africa. So I can relate to you many of these, and it can take a whole day, but we don't have the time, my dear brothers. So please make dua for us. Make dua that may Allah bless us.